people from the ancients. Today we've got Roy Scherer. Hey, thanks. Sharing some of the lessons he's learned in Winter Park Toastmasters and how they influenced his life. And it talks specifically aimed at guests, newer members. He reminds us that joining the Winter Park Toastmasters could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. Please welcome Roy Scherer in his speech entitled The Miracle of Winter Park Toastmasters. Wow. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and new members.
Good morning, Roy.
Good morning. Good morning. I was somewhat itinerant. I moved here from Germany. First time I went to a barber, Stan Torres. He was engaging in conversation, and he said, "Do you have any children?" Yes. "What about you?" He said, "Well, I have 2 wives. Unfortunately, they both died." What happened? Well, the first one bit mushrooms. She got poisoned when and died. And the second one, she died of a broken neck. Broken neck? What happened? She wouldn't eat the mushrooms. Now I said, "Where did you hear that story?" He said, "Winter Park Toastmasters would like to come as my guest." 40 years ago. I was in the travel business at that time, a tour operator in Israel, invited with 40 other, or less, leaders. And we took a trip around Israel, of course. They were interested in developing their spa and health business and wanted us to market it. At the end of the trip, the leader of the group said, there's an Israeli television station that wants to interview somebody in the group. Raise your hand if you're interested. We all avoided eye contact. And I thought, look, you've been in Toastmasters for a couple of years. So, hand went up. I was interviewed. Apparently it went okay. The interviewer said, direct answers, very good. So somewhere in Haifa, there's a small clip as it became the age of that interview. So, gaining confidence before an audience is very large. Now again, I'm addressing today the newer members. Older members can go to sleep. I generally do that when I'm speaking anyway. I don't need to encouragement. The second reason is you'll probably advance your career in whatever you're doing. And I was quite surprised. I had to switch jobs, long story, because Gaddafi's men shot 4 Americans in the Vienna airport, my entry point in tourists, and nobody wanted to go. So I was hired by a business-to-business service. It was very complicated, not in my field. About maybe 2 months into this, my boss said, "I want you to do me a favor." I said, "What's that?" He said, "I'm going to be interviewed on a radio show next week. I want you to take my spot." I said, "Look, I don't know anything about this business yet." He said, "Well, just fake it. You're a Toastmaster." That surprised me because he was from New York, very aggressive. He would elbow his past gatekeepers from New York, Carmelo. You know about aggression? What surprised me was that he was too timid to speak to groups. So this became my general way of prospecting, speaking to CEOs in meetings, and and also CPAs, became a major way of prospecting, and it worked. I think it was in the third year I got an award for being a $1 million producer, which I thought they should audit again, but anyway. Yesterday, Steve Goldman said, I'm being promoted in my business. And he said, I really credit Toastmasters in that. The table tennis. The questions they asked me, I could answer very directly. Tom Weiss, I overheard him one day saying, and he had graduated from the Naval Academy, he said, this is the best learning laboratory in the world. The third thing that happens, or could, is that you can pick your favorite charities and become a spokesman. I did that for the Cancer Society for a while, and also Second Harvest Food Bank, helping them in causes that you believe in. I was even invited to give a sermon in my church. They were looking for parishioners, and my topic was, if you want to be forgiven for your sins, the first thing you have to do is sin. I have 101 written down. I got to about 25. And the minister said, I think we're out of time. Another reason to join Toastmasters. There are many more friendships. I became the best man at my wedding in here. He used to claim he loved it. I was the best man, but I never really got to prove it. Well, that was a funny line. So, I guess not so funny. I've had the experience of dying at the lectern, like now. Physically, it might actually happen. This is a learning laboratory. The best training area that you could find. So, newer members, stay with it. You'll transform yourself over time. Several people in here going through this club have become professional speakers. Freddie Allen, for example. He said in his icebreaker, he sweat through 2 t-shirts and his dress shirt. He went on to travel around the country giving seminars, very successful. So many ways this club can help. Stay and experience it.